Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. How is everyone doing this evening? Happy and blessed Monday, traditional commemoration of All Souls Day. As in the ancient calendar, it is moved away from the Sunday, obviously, because Sunday takes precedence when it falls on such a day. So a blessed All Souls Day to everyone out there, and welcome to episode, was it 582? Wow, 582 of the Welcome to Asgard podcast, where tonight we're going to talk about this past weekend, one of the worst weekends on record in 2025, one of the 5 lowest weekends, in fact, on record. And oh boy, Hollywood is in quite a state still. There is some light on the horizon, as we are also tonight going to be talking about some of the early projections, the early tracking numbers for Wicked for Good, the sequel to the first Wicked film that came out a couple years ago, and really Act 2 of the musical Wicked. For those that have actually seen the musical version, have seen the show before on Broadway or on touring cast, and it's looking to be quite a massive opening weekend with projections well over $100 million, which would actually put it right above even that of the first movie. So right now it's tracking to do very well, and in fact, Box Office Theory has some pretty insane projections of what they think is going to happen, with it even getting close to potentially almost $200 million opening just domestically. So where I don't think the film is likely to hit $1 billion globally, because those international numbers were not nearly as strong for the first film as would have needed to be to kind of put it in that position. In fact, it made almost twice the amount of money domestically as it did internationally. So not a big international sensation is Wicked, which is actually surprising because the musical has actually been sold out in so many different venues across the world. So I actually thought that it would eventually appeal to those. But I guess one of the big differences is that whenever the musical does get adapted to different markets, to different places, they actually put it into the local language. So it makes sense then that the show would be popular in Asia when they cast Asian actors and they obviously put it into the local Asian languages, amongst many other places. There's also, of course, been Spanish language versions of the show too. So I guess in that capacity, it makes a little bit more sense. It's a little bit different when you have what likely are just, again, the translations that they always have for any American film being shown in a foreign country, right? Where you have the voice actors in there trying to do their best to capture the same emotion. It's just not always going to be the same, though, right? Because it's just not going to have the same oomph to it, as it were. It's not going to match the mouth or anything like that. Very different than a live performance where clearly everything is there. So maybe that's the reason why. But yeah, that first movie made $755 million globally. And I do think that's likely what we're going to see for the second film, maybe a little bit more. I don't know, though, based off of what we have right now, that it's going to hit $1 billion in and of itself. But the movie theaters do have a little bit of hope, because even if it doesn't hit $1 billion, it's still going to do very well here domestically. So the domestic market is going to be very, very happy with those numbers. And we are also very close now to Zootopia 2, which I do think has the potential to hit $1 billion, as I think that film is going to not only make a decent amount of money here domestically, but also internationally as well. By the way, YouTube's been doing this now on several and across several channels, and I don't know why, but they've really just messed up quite a bit with usernames. We've been seeing kind of mixes of this the last several weeks, and now I'm seeing just a lot more people who I'm used to seeing listed in a certain way being also showing up a little bit differently than usual. So again, I don't know why that is happening. I think YouTube had made some announcement about what they were doing with usernames or whatever. I don't like it. I think it's terrible. But if you're wondering why your name is different, that might be the reason why. But anyway, before going further, please make sure you smash that like button. If you're watching over on the Green Machine, make sure you smash the rumble button as well. We are also live over on X. So if you're live over there, go ahead and also say hello. I believe the chat is set up to to show up there. Let me do a little bit of a test run there. Let me put hey. Yes, okay. So it seems like that is showing up over there. But let's go ahead and say hello to our people who are in the chat tonight. We did have one comment over on the Green Machine before it started getting picked up in OBS. And it was Kincan Rumsgit 443 saying, "You can see me." I can. I just missed that comment, actually, when you had posted it, because I left my room not long after that. We had also Snorpoopus Cuber here saying, "Hello, humans and other quitters. What's going on, Snorda Poopus? Always great to have you here." Then saying hello. Hello to you. And then, of course, we had at 6:37, Jeremy Sikowski. What's going on? Saying, "Evening, Odin, everyone on here. Happy birthday to my lizard, the Big G himself. What do you think of the title Godzilla Minus Zero?" Yeah, I saw it trending earlier. Didn't get a chance to watch it. And then I had a few moments before the stream to actually sit down and watch the title reveal. I'm pumped. I'm very, very excited. I don't know what it means. I hardly even know what -1 honestly is referring to either. I just remember that the film was fantastic and one of the best films of the year and blew everything Monsterverse out of the water. I mean, I've always hated Monsterverse crap. That movie was real cinema. That movie was fantastic. And so I'm very excited. Same writer, and I love the way they said it. You know, he's coming back to design the VFX. He's coming back to direct and to write it. I'm pumped. I'm excited. So I think the title reveal was perfect. Just the kind of teaser that you want to have. It looks like they're going to have all their ducks in a row as far as the people that are involved. And hey, let's just hope they don't pull a Joker 2 and and just disappoint everybody. So I'm actually quite excited for that. We got Gary of the Banjo Sandwich Worthington, Mr. Banjo Sandwich himself, saying, "Gearing up for Predator Badlands. Will it be any good or is it doomed to fail?" I have no desire to see it. Why would anything in the modern day be any good? Look, I know that some people are willing to defend the film Prey, and even I was like, look, the film was not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. I would still not call Prey a good movie. So I have no reason to have any hope that Predator Badlands is going to be any good. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't think it's going to be a good film, and I also don't think it's going to do much at the box office either. Right now, tracking for that film, not looking all that good. Not looking all that good for a film that probably cost quite a bit, seeing that Disney is the producer behind the film, right? Through 20th Century Studios. Disney always overspends on everything. So, yeah, let's just say not expecting much, either financially or creatively. We got Bruce. What's going on, Bruce? Saying, "Sorry, I don't post much anymore. I'm watching a lot via Roku on Living Room TV. No chat function." Well, it's called a phone, Bruce. You can have the phone open in the chat while you watch from the comfort of your sofa. Just saying. Just putting it out there, Bruce. But always great to have you in the chat, man. Thank you. Banjo Sandwich saying, "Godzilla is returning. Hallelujah. A good film at last cometh." I know, seriously. In the midst of so many terrible films, one to look forward to. Already my most anticipated film. Don't know when it's coming out. Is it going to be 2026? Would seem like a pretty quick turnaround. I don't know when they started filming it, or if they have started filming it. So what was it? 2027 maybe? 2028? Couldn't come fast enough. I'm very pumped. Wendy Hunter. Wendy, what's going on, Wendy? Saying hello to you. Yeah, again, I don't know why the usernames are changing. Let's see, Snorpoopa seems to have a bit of insight here. Says, "YouTube has been doing the @chat handle thing lately. Nobody likes it, but YouTube is not into making users happy." This is very true. If they were, they would have returned the dislike button years ago. But hey, they're still doing what they are doing. Thanatos Felicitas, what's going on? Saying, "Hello, Odin, hello to you at 7:20 p.m. Always great to have you here. We got member Jimmy in the chat. What is going on, Jimmy? Thanks for being a member. As always, Wendy is also a member. Thank you. Forever Sci-Fi is a member. Hail all. Hail to you, Forever Sci-Fi. Thank you for being a member. Thank you for being here. We got one of my chosen of Valhalla, Mr. Roy. Hello. What's going on, Mr. Roy? Great to have you here. We got Laura, the Mother Major General, Shorty Short Story. What's going on, Shorty Short? Waving in the chat. Waving. Hail, hail, hail. JS Pena hanging out. What's going on? Jimmy A saying the lowest weekend in 2025 is already a super low bar. Yeah, I mean, there have been lower weekends. I pointed that out in my box office breakdown video yesterday. But it's, yeah, the fact that it's even within the discussion, right, of one of the lowest weekends of this year, let alone on record, is just, again, it just shows you how bad things have gotten. And I still can't get over the fact that they dropped the ball that badly on a Halloween weekend. They had Halloween on a Friday. They could have had something set up to be released on Halloween night, and they could have run with it. And instead, no, we got the Black Phone 2 hanging over, which, again, I like the Black Phone 2, actually. But it was in its third weekend of release. So it's not nearly as fresh as it once was. The fact that there were no new releases either, like as far as mainstream new releases, that there was not a single one, that's insane. It shows you Hollywood either just does not care or has just gotten to the point of just pure incompetence. It's crazy. It's crazy. Can't get Rumsky over on Green Machine saying, do you have any hope for Hollywood's future? In what way? Creatively? I've lost that hope quite a long time ago. I mean, there's obviously some people out there. Tarantino is still a pretty solid writer, but he's also very limited in what he does, right? He picks his projects. He's very meticulous with that, which is probably one of the reasons why he's as good as he is. Scorsese is hit and miss these days. Obviously, excited for, was it Yamamoto? Yakamoto, again, I forget his name. Again, apologies. But the creator of Godzilla -1, I'm very excited to see what he'll do with Godzilla -0. I think it'll be fantastic. But yeah. Shorty Short saying, Monday the 17th, I mean. I see. Saying there, I'm seeing Wicked for Good early. I'm seeing Wicked for Good, the movie, early on Monday the 17th. Very nice. Very nice. I know a lot of people are excited. Again, wife and I saw that together, and we were unimpressed. And that's just because we have both been able to see the stage version, and they made way too many changes, especially to Defying Gravity. Like that song, I think, is just so perfectly paced, and the way they made those changes and just the pause they have before the final, like, me down, it's just, it was annoying. Gandalf 1477. I believe this is Killian G. Shadowcat. Have I gotten all these names memorized yet? Kimberly G. Shadowcat. Kimberly G. What's going on? Gandalf 1477. Howdy. Thanks for being a member here on the channel. Crazy these names that they're doing. It's just like, why? Why do this? Mikey Dreamer. What's going on, Mikey? Saying, hey, Odin, great news today as the sequel to Godzilla -1 was officially announced with the title Godzilla -0 and is on track for worldwide release next year. Ooh, okay. Glad to know that. That's very fast. I hope it's good. That's my big hope. Already my most anticipated film of 2026, I can say, at this early date. I say that, and yet we're already in November. That's insane. We're in November. Thanksgiving's going to be here before you know it. And then we're in Christmas season. We go into Advent, go into Christmas season, and all of a sudden now it's 2026. It's like, what? Where did all this time go? This is insane. Shorty Short, loathing, unadulterated loathing, for your face, your voice, your clothing. How dare you make me sing, Laura? Don't make me sing. Don't make me sing. You just knew I was going to sing it. How dare you? Geek True 64. Happy birthday, Godzilla. Yeah. Happy birthday to Godzilla. Indeed. Let us see here. See, there I was posting over on X, so people should be able to post there. Banjo Sandwich saying, I love it, the new username thing. Yeah, I mean, I think if you understand it and how to change it to be what you want it to be, I could see how you might like it. But since a lot of people online who watch YouTube, amongst other things, don't really do that much tech stuff, it's just, I could see how that's just yet another annoyance. Keely Chow hanging out. What is going on? Wendy saying, I'm super excited to see Wicked 2. Never saw the Broadway play and trying to stay away from spoilers. Oh, man. Good luck with that, because it's been out for a long time. Not only do you have, of course, the original book that's based off of. Honestly, though, the book and the book and the musical are nothing alike. Like, there's characters and there's like basic things like that, but they're just so different, and the musical is far superior. It's one of those rare circumstances where the alternative medium being used is actually better right? It's not common that the book is not as good as whatever it's adapted into. Wicked is one of those examples where it's like, no, the musical is significantly better than the book in so many different ways. So good luck with that, but I can't protect you from potential spoilers. All right, so just keep that in mind. Sahil, what's going on? Saying, I recently watched Top Gun Maverick in a Screen X theater at Regal. I would highly recommend it. One screen in the front and one on the left and one on the right. Want to see Avatar 2 next. So it's 3 separate screens. Are they made to be kind of like panorama, where it's like meant to be like a singular shot? Or is it like those 2 screens are just kind of add-ons? I don't know. To me, it's like I can see how that could be immersive, but you all know I don't like gimmicky stuff. That's why I've always hated 3D. When they try to do the high frame rate stuff with The Hobbit, drove me nuts. And the only formats that I've ever really enjoyed have been IMAX. Dolby's my all-time favorite. I will stand by that because IMAX, yeah, you get the big screen, big sound, but Dolby, the picture is just beautiful, especially if it's actually made for Dolby with the lasers. Beautiful crisp images, and then the sound, of course, is great too. Those are always my favorites, though. I don't like the gimmicky stuff. Let's see. Jimmy A. If they make a third Godzilla movie and call it Godzilla minus one. At first I was like, wait a minute, was this a typo, or are you just trying to get into the double negative to the positive? So yeah, Godzilla minus one and make it a positive number. That would be pretty impressive. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like, I don't know exactly what all these things are supposed to mean, but if it's as good as the first film, and the title seems to show that it's in the spirit of the first film, then I will be very happy. Master of Gaming, welcome back. We got Kink and Rumsky. Wouldn't Godzilla 0 just be Godzilla? Well, it would be, but it's Godzilla. Wouldn't Godzilla minus 0 just be Godzilla? No, because it's Godzilla minus 0. All right, don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Geek True 64, what's going on, brother? Member here on the channel and also a fantastic YouTuber. I think the username changes come from something YouTube pushed earlier this year. If you never reserved an @name, YouTube may be coming up with its own username and assigning them. Not sure. That makes sense. I feel like I have heard that potentially before. Keely Chow, what's going on? Everyone is doing just fine. Baby boy, not baby boy anymore, but my small child now, who turned 5, he had a bad day at school. So he had some consequences. Was not able to play any games, had to play by himself. No books with mom and dad. He got the picture. But we're hoping for a better day tomorrow. Master of Gaming, what's going on? Saying, since Odin has no desire to see Predator Badlands, it's going to flop. That's not really how that works. Because I also have no desire to see Avatar in any capacity. None of the Avatars. And yet I know as a fact that those films will make bare minimum $1 billion. It's sad. I wish it wasn't true. I wish it wouldn't happen. But man. Shorty Short, happy Godzilla Day. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. By the way, Shorty Short, thank you for sending Shin Godzilla. I need to check the P.O. box. I don't know if it had delivered yet or not, but I would assume it would be trying to deliver in time for Godzilla Day. Jeremy Zakowski, late 2026, very likely November 6th. Okay. So a year from now, 2026 for Godzilla minus 0. I'm very excited for that. Jenna Wingster, attention, duelist. My hair greets you tonight. Yes, Jenna Wingster. Master Gaming, all Hollywood needs to do to bring back audiences is to make movies you want to see. Yeah. That's pretty straightforward. Hollywood can lose me for all I care. Wendy Hunter saying, you are so correct about the no Halloween movie release. It's crazy. It's like they're just throwing money away at this point. Geek Truth, were you able to see Back to the Future in IMAX? No, because the showtime sucked. Because the only showtime that was the closest showtime to working was like a 6 o'clock showtime. It's like, I'm sorry, my kids are still awake. So none of the showtimes worked. It's like, yeah, could I have made the whole like, hey, honey, are you okay if I go see this movie in IMAX and take care of the kids' bedtime routines? And I'm sure like my wife would have been fine with that, but I don't like that. I don't like even on one occasion, if I have the power to miss out on a nighttime with the kids. I know how many parents have always said like how much They wish they had cherished those moments, and that's kind of how I am. That's why, you know, on FNT, it's like, look, I try to be on the entire time, but at the end of the day, you know, my kids are only going to be 2 and 5. Is disconnecting, reconnecting? Okay. Hopefully we're back. No idea what just happened. This doesn't typically happen. I hope that we're back. It said that it said that it cut off. So I'm hoping that we're still here. I'm back in the live chat now, waiting to see if we've got just some confirmation that we are still live. Maybe y'all are like, you're crazy. It's been up the whole time. All I can say is what OBS was telling me, which was that it had disconnected and then had reconnected. It says I'm back. Okay, that seems to indicate that it did disappear. I do apologize for that. Again, it's a very, very rare thing. My internet typically doesn't do that. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the wife's doing on the internet upstairs. Oh, probably watching some of her girly stuff. Why I said it that way. Anyway, so getting back to it though, I could have done that, but I want to cherish those moments with the kiddos as much as I can. So unfortunately, the timing never worked. Yeah, there were other show times that I could have gone to see the movie that were working, but none of them were IMAX. And it's like, well, look, I own the movie several ways. I've seen the film countless times. If I'm going to go see the film, it's going to be on an IMAX screen. Sadly, couldn't make it work. Victor Fontaine, hail everyone. What is up with Gary doing his nooner at night? I got sucked into watching him, but I'm here now. Wait, his nooner is going on right now? Come on, bro. It's already bad enough when everyone else is trying to stream. Can't get no respect. Can't get no respect. Every time I have a showtime where it's like, look, here's where we're going, here's where we are, people just come on in. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to do our stream now there too. Remember I used to stream on Tuesdays? And then a certain show called Tuesday Night's Main Event saying, oh yeah, let's go ahead and just keep moving up. Just step all over Odin's toes. I mean, I love my brothers and sisters against gamers, but come on, guys. Come on. Let's see. Shorty Short saying, did you get Shin Godzilla yet? I have not checked the P.O. box, but I'm assuming that means that it would have been delivered, so I will definitely check it out, hopefully tomorrow. Will Riker 943. Will Riker, welcome. Again, if you have a comment or question that you want read aloud, please put at Odin at the very beginning of your comment. At Odin lets me know you're trying to get my attention. Of course, you can also just a super chat or donate via Streamlabs, and you can circumvent having to wait and having to worry about the whole tagging stuff. Let's see. Wendy Hunter saying, I did my research on the book and decided to stay far away from it. Yeah. It's honestly, like, the first book is at least interesting. It's very weird. The author is a very weird guy, and the books are no different. So the first one at least is somewhat intriguing. But I remember reading it and thinking to myself, okay, I can kind of see where the musical came from, but man, oh man, do I prefer the musical. I then made the mistake of reading the sequel to The Wicked called Son of a Witch, and it's like the ending, I guess, is like the most compelling part of it. Everything else, you're just like, what in the world am I reading? Victor Fontaine saying, according to Gary's YouTube rep, the @ thing will be going across all channels on YouTube. It is their future direction. Well, that is disappointing. Again, hopefully, if you don't like your @ you can go into your settings and change it into what it is that you want it to be. But Jimmy A, Screen X is just 2 screens on the side that add to the scene. Most movies aren't filmed for it, so they don't look too great. Top Gun Maverick movie was an exception. As I said before, to me, that just comes across as a gimmick. Sahil, yes, panoramic. I wouldn't want to see the next Scorsese movie in it, but I would love to see certain action movies in it, especially a movie like Maverick. See, I could see watching, like, a scene, like, you know how they have the rides at Universal and Disney and everything, and I think about, you know, probably one of the better, quote, newer rides. It's well over a decade old, I think, at this point, but Mickey's PhilharMagic, right, where the screens pull back and it's like that fully immersive experience, but it's for a short period of time. I like that. I don't know if I'd want a whole movie like that. Again, to me, I just would be too distracted by the gimmick of it all. Hardwick, maybe the sequel will introduce love interest for Godzilla and have the Godzilla +1. I sure hope not. Good Lord. Let's not do that. As long as Hollywood stays away from it, I think we'll be okay, but Lord. Let's see, Good Truth. I believe the title Godzilla Minus One is in reference to the idea of the bomb being zero and Godzilla appearing, making it -1 worse than zero. That was my thought. Interesting reference there. Justin C., what's up? Evening, all. Predator Badlands will most likely flop, though curious what The Running Man and Now You See Me are projected to do. Now You See Me is not expected to do much of anything. That one, I mentioned this last time. I do not understand how that film has people watching it, like why that series has continued on. It just makes very little sense, especially with how much money has gone into them, more than you would expect. Yeah, the issue with both Predator Badlands and Running Man, at least right now, is last I checked, there are no officially reported budgets yet. So Predator Badlands is going to probably cost well north of $100 million, at least, just based off of what Prey was, and then based off of the Disney factor in spending. You could always expect more money to be spent on kind of like a follow-up by the same, isn't like the same director, writer of Prey, right? So, Disney was like, oh, look what you did with so little the first time. Let's just now give you an infinite amount of money. It's like, no, Disney, you don't have to do that. So, I do not expect much from Predator Badlands. And speaking of that, I guess that can lead us into talking about some box office, okay? And as you all know, right, if we're going to talk box office, we got to do it right.
Time to see a real math magician at work!
That's right, everybody. It's time for some math and to see a real math magician at work. And so before getting into the weekend box office, because we did have some updates, the question that was raised was about Predator Badlands and whether I think it's going to be any good or not. Now, as far as a movie is concerned, I really have no prospects. I have no expectations. I've stayed away from all trailers. And again, all I can go based off of is the track record of Disney and the track record of those involved. And though I personally don't think Prey was a bad movie, I would also not say that it was a film that was worth writing home about. It was a film that struggled to make sense as far as capabilities, right, of the people involved, trying to almost fight hand-to-hand combat in certain regards with a predator, having the whole Native American aspect as well. It's like, it just honestly felt like, oh, this is just modern Hollywood girl boss nonsense, right? So Predator Badlands, it seems like it's going to have some similar themes at the very least as far as certain casting. You have Ellie Fanning, who is a phenomenal actress. She's great. And I think that she supposedly is being cast as like some kind of android creature, which would at least somewhat make sense if she ends up going hand-to-hand and toe-to-toe with a predator. But at the same time, it also kind of has that same visual problem that modern Hollywood is oftentimes involved with in different ways, right? So, anyway, Predator Badlands is right now only currently projected, at least according to Box Office Theory, and that is coming out this weekend, to only open to 20 to 29 million. So again, this past weekend, the top movie made only about $8 million. So while this is a big increase in comparison, $20 million to $29 million total domestic is not good. Especially if the film costs about as much as I suspect it will be, which I think will be about north of $100 million. Again, not the best of starts, and I don't necessarily think the film will make that much difference internationally either. Next weekend is the Now You See Me, Now You Don't. 12 to 17 million is what that film is projected to make in its debut, so it's expected to be, not the number one film of the weekend, and in fact, a film that's not expected to do much of anything, at least according to the current projections, is The Running Man. Only $19 to $28 million is currently being projected for the opening weekend of The Running Man. Now, I think personally that these might be a little bit on the low side. I think that the actual numbers might come in a little bit higher, especially if there is any anticipation built for the film, especially if there's any good trailers, any good last-minute trailers. There's also always the factor of the walk-up audience that is sometimes very hard to quantify. Glenn Powell definitely has some pull with younger audiences, especially younger teen audiences. I don't think that The Running Man, though, is going to be a film that's going to bring out a lot of the younger girl audience that he is much more likely to bring in if he was in like a romantic comedy, for instance. So maybe that's the reason why the numbers are as low as they are, because yeah, it's got Glenn Powell in it, but his type of movie that his audience, that his fans go for, are when he gets to play like the heartthrob character, right? Because that's what they want to see him in, and how they want to see him overall. So it'll be interesting to see exactly where these numbers come in. Now, what is also interesting is that they are projecting a strong hold over time, because they do think that Running Man will overall make between $62 and $113 million in total domestic. Compare that to Now You See Me, which is expected to do about 12 to 17 million, so not too far off, but also only end up at 34 to 49 million. Or Predator Badlands, expected to do 20 million, so expected to do higher and better in its opening weekend than Running Man, but down the line, not nearly as good, with only 46 to 70 million being projected. So again, very fascinating things in that regards. Now, if we go over to thenumbers.com, the update for the weekend is Black Phone 2. So I said this in the box office breakdown. I said, you know what? When they reported the early numbers, right? So Paramount put the numbers out for Regretting You, and they claimed the number one spot, right? So the initial estimates had Black Phone 2 at around $8 million, and then Regretting You at $8.1 million. So Paramount was like, oh yeah, we took this weekend, look at us, look how good we are. And I said to myself, you know what? Whenever you have numbers that close, whenever it's only about $100,000 difference between movies, doesn't always come across correctly. It almost seems as if they're trying to prop up something, and it still held pretty well, okay? Regretting You did still have a 43% drop in its second weekend. That's still a very good percentage drop, better than expected. That being said, it did not make $8.1 million. It actually made only $7.8 million. So they overprojected that thing. Percentage-wise, that's quite a bit off, right? It's one thing to be, saying around 8 million to make 8.3, than be saying 8.1 to saying 7.8, because when you're under projecting versus over projecting, there is a difference in those metrics there, right? Especially when you're 3 weeks out, whereas in the second case, you are only 2 weeks out. Those numbers need that much more of a difference. If you're doing much better than what you yourself think is going to happen, that is obviously a pretty big deal. So Black Phone 2 did end up taking the number one spot, stole the number one spot away from Regretting You, and honestly, it's the way it should be. It's a Halloween weekend. It makes a lot of sense for there to be a horror film / thriller film that takes the win for the weekend. So seeing Black Phone 2 up there, getting the number one spot, is really cool. Really cool to see that happen in its third weekend of release. Regretting You, though, did get the number 2 spot, and that is exactly where it was the previous week. Chainsaw Man dropped to number 3. Still a pretty strong hold, though, for a anime movie. And Back to the Future did stay in the top 5, though I will say I don't believe that they have officially updated these numbers to include the re-release of K-Pop Demon Hunters. I don't know why Netflix... Maybe it's because they don't feel like they have the need to report them officially, or maybe the site that the numbers uses for its data isn't reporting it. But we already are hearing that the film made about $5 to $6 million in its re-debut, right, the sing-along version, which would put it around the number 4 spot, bumping Back to the Future off. But as is the case, the fact that Back to the Future is even still in that discussion is still darn impressive. Now, we, of course, also, while talking about box office, are going to talk just about Wicked for Good. So the early projections are also out for this movie. Now, the traditional projections, right, from Tony at Deadline, from Access Media, Shills, is that it's expected to deliver magic, as Tony says, with $112 to $115 million in its domestic opening weekend. Now, just as a frame of reference, if we go back in time to Wicked in 2024, if, of course, it'll load up, as we all know, the internet and websites don't always want to work when you want them to. The first weekend of the first movie made $112.5 million. Now, if that is the case, then this is saying the film is expected to make as much money, the same exact amount of money, as the first film. If that is true, that actually is not that great. And the reason why is this. It means the audience has not been built. It means that they have not grown their audience since the first film. It means that people who waited to go see the movie on VOD or on physical media were not compelled to go see the film in theaters this time around either. Now, again, it is on the higher side in the $112 to $115 million range. And obviously, as we get closer, I suspect this film will probably get a little bit of a boost. But what's more interesting to me is what Sean Robbins over at Box Office Theory is saying, because for him, he thinks the film is tracking to do 160 to 190. You heard that correctly, 160 to 190. So he does think it's going to have a much bigger opening weekend than the first. As you all know, I tend to agree with Sean Robbins more often than not. I would also suspect that it making more in its opening weekend than the first film makes a lot of sense, because I do think that if you like the first movie, you're probably going to go see this movie too. And there's a lot of people that did like the movie. Again, my wife and I, not a big fan of it, because less so because of the film itself and more so because it didn't really meet the expectations of the original show, and the changes that were made honestly didn't seem to serve much of anything other than just them trying to shove some things in there and honestly try to make it kind of just, let's just say, to make it a little bit more modern Hollywood than it should be. And that's not even a critique that my wife would have even had for the movie, but the fact that it was still made changes enough to kind of tick her off. What's also funny for her is that she got most bothered, actually, by the dancing through life sequence because of the way that the rotating library worked. So it's like, whereas for me, I noticed things like, okay, there are clearly a lot of LGBTQA plus people in this, and hey, it's a musical, so I guess that kind of fits. But it's like, man, they're really doing a lot to try to make Fiyero not into the ladies' man that he's in, but rather it just into an all things, which really bothered me. Whereas while I'm noticing that, my wife's like, man, that library just does not make any sense. So it's, again, stuff like that where, nitpicking stuff, but still things that bothered us quite a bit. With that being said, though, right, it is currently projected to do quite well. If Sean Robbins' numbers are correct, and again, I think somewhere between Sean Robbins and the traditional tracking is very likely to be where this film falls. But if it does hold to that, he then says that the film will make between $463 in total domestic, with upwards of $519 million in total domestic. Now, let's again go back in time. The first film made $473. So he's expecting the film to make about as much as the first, maybe a little bit more, right? With the average being around 506. So if the same kind of increase happens internationally, then we could suspect that this movie has a chance of probably getting to around 800 to probably a max of $900 million. And of course, as soon as you get anywhere close to $1 billion, people automatically bring it up and say, okay, what are the chances of it happening? Because of the opening weekend being very close to that of the original film, because of even the long-term projections being in the ballpark of the first film, I don't think that there is enough momentum, at least at this point. Again, the film hasn't come out yet. It's still a long time before this film gets released. A lot of momentum can still be built. This is still going to be a very big release. It's still going to be one of the biggest films of 2025. And also with the budget being as high as it was, and these films were filmed back to back, and so there was some shared crossover between these two budgets. The fact that even the first movie, when compared to the reported $145 million budget, still did 5.2 times its budget. Again, that's very good profit, right? Not the best, but still good profit nonetheless. We're expecting Wicked for Good, Wicked 2, Wicked Act 2, Wicked Part 2 to be quite a sight at the box office. Anyway, what say you guys? Let's get back into the chat. 749, Short saying, Unobtainium. Oh my goodness, the dumbest thing ever. JS Pena, Happy Godzilla Day, indeed. Victor Fontaine, my Shin Godzilla 4K shipped out, but is still on its way here. Well, there you go. Hardwick, it seems like Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein would get a widespread release for Halloween. I mean, seriously, it's a film that is not available almost anywhere. It's such a limited release. And from what Gary has said, and I think even Drinker maybe got a chance to see it too, I feel like there's been a bunch of people, a bunch of bigger names in the space that have seen the film and have really liked it, have really enjoyed it. And so for them to not want to put that into much wider theatrical release is just crazy to me. The big difference, though, is remember, it is a Netflix movie. So it makes a lot more sense when you remember that. It's like, oh, okay, so they're only putting it in limited release so that way it can have Oscar consideration, and then they're just going to put it on their streaming platform and then think, oh, yeah, people will be happy with that. It's like, well, from what I'm hearing, it's a movie that would benefit to be seen on the big screen, is the things that I'm hearing about it. So yeah, you would think, Hardwick is a good point, that Halloween would be the perfect time, right? That would be the perfect time to do this. But apparently not. Guillermo Gage, thank you very much for the $1 Rumble rant. Appreciate you. Saying, I think the reason why Hollywood doesn't release a lot of Halloween Fridays is because the very next day Halloween is over. Still though, it's spooky. Like, the reason why they call it spooky season is because it is a mentality. People do not give up on spooky season the day that Halloween's over. If we're taking at it from a realistic approach, remember, Halloween is All Hallows Eve, meaning it is the feast, or rather it is the night before, the vigil of All Saints Day. Guess what? The day after Halloween is All Saints Day, which means it's still very much connected to Halloween. And then All Souls Day follows that. And as All Souls Day is oftentimes also shown as Dias de los Muertos, which has its own spooky season stuff to it, there is no reason, none, for them to not try to make those connections, try to have those dots there, and to try to take advantage of that aspect. So, no, I think it was a big mistake for them to miss out on. And again, Frankenstein, that's a film that they could have extended its release with. And they probably could have done pretty well with it. But again, it's Netflix, so they don't really care about all that because they're like, oh, we're only going to make our money back on streaming. It's crazy. Thank you for telling me that I was back. You are still live. I never lost you, says Wendy. Okay. Glad to hear it. Don't know why it showed up that way. Kevin Davis, what's going on? Let's see. Magic Gaming saying, I thought you saw Avatar 1 and 2. I did. Conjuring franchise and the modern Stephen King It movies are better examples of movies you have no interest in that were successful. Bro, I don't know what you're trying to say. But whatever it is, just stop. Basically, let me put it this way. Me not having interest is not a good metric. Okay? Just because I see a movie does not mean that it's successful. I've seen a lot of films that have flopped. Even films that I've liked. A great example would be Live, Die, Repeat. Edge of Tomorrow. Fantastic movie. But it flopped. It had life after theaters, which is the only reason why it probably made some money back on the back end and justified a sequel. YouTube has been wiggly today, says, I'm sorry, I'm so used to seeing the names there, says Gandalf. You did cut out, but everything is great now. Never lost you on my end. Interesting. You are fine over here on the Green Machine. Master Gaming saying, but those are the exceptions, not the rule. Also, the Smashing Machine deserves so much better. And again, I've seen most of it and thought it was well made, but yep, still a flop. Master of Gaming, I also have no interest in Predator Badlands since it's PG-13. I know it's going to be a well-received movie because it's directed by Dan Trachtenberg. Well, again, just because a film is directed by someone does not automatically mean anything. Winnie Hunter, my mom wants to do a mom-daughter movie date, trying to figure out what movie to go to. And then says, love that math, Kink and Rumsky. That's the stuff. Okay, so Wendy's trying to go see a movie with mom. So if you like the first film, Wicked, maybe that would be a good film to go see with the mom. I don't know. Let me try and think about other films that are currently out in theaters that would be good for mom. There's usually not a whole lot of stuff that's out there. I mean, you could always go with the Angel Studios release, Truth and Treason. I don't necessarily think that would necessarily be the one to be good for the fam. I don't know. And again, there's just not a whole lot of stuff out right now, unfortunately. Let me see what we have coming up this weekend, because obviously we have a few of the films I've already mentioned. You've got the film featuring Sydney Sweeney called Christie coming out. Again, I don't know much about it to say whether it'd be worth seeing or good to see with the mom or not. Hard to say. I guess Wicked for good. You got Zootopia 2, but that's more for kids than anything else. Man, oh man. I don't know. Chat. Help her out. Y'all probably know more better than I do. Let's see. Mikey Dreamer. November has a lot of films I'm interested in, including Nuremberg, Sentimental Value, Sarah's Oil, Rental, Family, and Zootopia 2. yeah, so many of them, I'm just like, why should I care? Why should I care? Guillermo Gage, thank you for the $2 Rumble rant, saying, K-pop Demon Hunters, I finally watched it on November 1st at home without paying for Netflix and in theaters giving Netflix money then. I don't think the human characters are meant to be biblical demons. I have seen the film myself. One of them actually is a demon, half demon. Anyway, it goes on saying, yes, I like K-pop Demon Hunters, went to the theaters same day, watched it at home. Usually I avoid giving Netflix money. It seems like a repeat, but different wording as well. But yeah, I said it's a well-made movie. It's just not my cup of tea. That's my position on K-pop Demon Hunters. All right. Thank you for those Rumble rants. Let me make sure I go back into the chat. So make sure I didn't miss anybody. Smash the like button, let it the fire button as well. See King and Rumsky at 758 saying, do we know when the Meg -0 is set to come out? No. Oh, could you imagine if they decided to release another Meg and it was the Meg -0 as the title? I know that there is another Meg in the works, but could you imagine if they were like, let's do another one and let's just try to steal all the Godzilla minus stuff. Wouldn't that be something? Geedrucy4 is 59 saying, I thought Prey was mid as well. I'll watch Predator Badlands, but wait for physical. Might see Running Man in theaters because I like Wright and Glenn Powell. Yeah, again, Running Man at the very least seems a bit more intriguing to me, so it's definitely on my watch list. Guillermo Gage left his comment earlier as a regular comment before making it into a Rumble rant, so I've already gotten that. Jimmy A, they just need to let everyone know there is a shirtless Glenn Powell in the movie, and then the female audience will show up. You would think that, all right? You would think that. But that's not always the case, because they do have to get through the rest of the movie, too. Let's see. Master Gaming, K-pop, Demon Hunters re-release numbers are on Box Office Mojo. Again, yeah. But they are reported elsewhere too. That's why I have an idea of what they are. But I try to avoid Box Office Mojo like the plague. Keely Chow's leaving early again. How dare you? By the way, I actually do have ice cream for after the show, so I'm actually very, very excited to get to that point because man, love me some ice cream. Master of Gaming, I heard Wicked for Good is better than the second act of the Broadway musical. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's still too early to tell. I don't know if that is from any comments that have been made by like the Film Threat guys, because I heard rumors at the very least that they were going to try to. This is not really spoilery necessarily because it's not in the musical either. But basically that they were going to try to do more to incorporate the Wizard of Oz story into the Wicked story. So, in the musical, they really just have Dorothy crying off stage is like the only thing you really get. So having them incorporate that part of it into the that could be cool. There's also some really good music, really good songs. I know that everyone's like, yeah, but nothing really ever matches up to Defying Gravity. And normally I would agree, like Defying Gravity is the very definition of a, Act 1 finisher where you're just like, oh, I can't wait for the next act. But I mean, For Good is a phenomenal song in and of itself. Very different, obviously, a much softer tone, but so much like the musical really is well done. And I know that this is coming from someone and you're like, oh man, musical theater, etc. But hey, I'm someone that has always and always will love musical theater. I'm a musical theater kid at heart, all right? I did it for 20 years of my life. That's not, and I have no desire to drop that from my life either because I love it. I love it. It's actually so much fun. Met so many awesome people, made so many good friends, good friendships in my life. Every year, y'all know this, right? I still drive back down to New Orleans every summer to help build the stage of the place where I did shows for years, right? And now that I got my kids, right, actually, have made it into it's a father-son trip. So I bring my son down with me in the car, and it's fun. So it is. I've always loved it. But anyway, the musical though really is brilliant. The guy who wrote it, the score, Steven Schwartz, has written some of the best scores of almost any musical. Another one of his that I love is Children of Eden. Just a very powerful. It's actually it's a biblical story. It definitely, of course, takes some liberties with everything, but it's meant to be more of like a fictional, representation of scripture. It's not meant to be anything else, but it really is beautiful in how it captures. But he's always just been so good at writing these scores. The lyrics have also usually been pretty strong too, and there are these moments in the song For Good that are just so powerful because even, and I won't say too much because again, it's not really spoiling much of anything, but the way in which who sings the high note in the relationship between Glinda and Elphaba, the fact that he's able to turn that into itself a story element musically is just beautiful. Ugh. Just thinking about it, I'm just like, man. I remember the first time I was like, oh man, you know what he just did there? Good stuff. Anyway. Guillermo Gage. Of course, K-Pop Demon Hunters was originally a Sony creation. Let's see. Banjo Sandwich saying Del Snoro Frankenstein was average. Well, bro, if you're just if that means that you gave it your 50% score, I automatically know now that I probably will like it, or at the very least, I'm going to disagree with your score because almost every one of your 50% is ridiculous. I love you, Banjo Sandwich, but your 50% obsession is too much. Jimmy A. Next year would be even better to release a scary movie since October 30th will be a Friday, and then the 31st will be a Saturday, big day for movies. Yeah, and then you have All Saints Day on November 1st. So, yeah. But will they? I have my doubts. They really did miss a great opportunity here, though. Geek True 64 saying, Odin Del Toro's last movie was Pinocchio with Netflix too. At least it got a physical release through Criterion. Frankenstein will most likely get the same treatment like through Criterion. Yes, this is true. But still, even then, I like my home theater system, but it's also far cry from anything even close to a big screen experience, you know? So I just, it drives me crazy how they do that. Will Riker, I see John Carpenter's Thing in theaters when it was new, and it was a flop. Nowadays, people like me and others think it's a masterpiece, especially with the special effects. I mean, absolutely, right? Just because a film flops does not make the film bad. Absolutely. Wendy Hunter thinks movies are slim pickings. Yes, they are. Shorty Short saying, be careful with those mom movies. Never forget taking my mom-in-law to The Last Duel. Oh my gosh, that's right. Oh, she saved me. Laura saved me from seeing The Last Duel. Very happy to have missed it, but sad that she had to experience it and also had to experience it with the poor mom-in-law. Oh. Oh no, I forget. I'm now remembering that. Oh no. Kate Rumsky says lost connection. Oh boy. Hopefully we're actually still here, and I'm not just talking to nobody. Geek Jersey 4 saying, I hope they call Meg 3 Megalopolis. Wouldn't that be something? The problem is, of course, there's already a film of that title, though maybe if they retroactively change that one to Megaflopolis, as that is what it was. Rental Family with Brendan Fraser looks interesting. I do like Brendan Fraser, but he also did that film The Whale, which I had a lot of ethical issues with. A lot of issues with that movie. So who knows how Rental Family is going to be. Also, again, I don't know. I haven't seen the trailer for it, but just the concept of Rental Family, I don't know if that sounds good. Morak, what's going on, good sir? Again, thanks for being a member here on the channel. Another comment saying, I cannot say the name of this. I cannot say the name of this. I can't. So F Hall, I'll say F Hall, looks funny in the vein of Airplane. It really does. I was so surprised when I saw the trailer for F Hall. I was honestly just shocked because I saw the actors, I saw the tone of it, and I just immediately thought to myself, how in the world is this film being made? And Lord Almighty, like this is amazing. So I'm actually quite excited for that one as well. very, very excited to see what they're able to do with that, because if the trailer's any indication, they could do a lot of things. A lot. They could do a lot of stuff. All right, let me just make sure I didn't miss any comments earlier, because I know sometimes I jump around when I'm trying to get to other things. Let's see. But yeah, F-Hall looks very funny. Mega Dreamer just looked up the numbers upcoming schedule. Right now, there's not any films listed for Halloween weekend. The previous weekend has the new M. Night Nicholas Sparks film Remain. That's so bizarre. Why would they forego? Again, I think it's because Hollywood studios have in their mind there are certain holidays that they don't think will sell. And I understand it to a point, right? Because you think about Halloween, most people go out. Most people go out on dates. Most people go out to parties, go trick-or-treating, or bring their kids trick-or-treating. So not a lot of people are going to be wanting to see movies. But we always know, right, that these norms can easily be done away with when you have something that is worth seeing. When you have something that people get excited. Again, you can have a lower... That's the thing, too. The big problem is the fact that Hollywood does not know how to make consistently low-budget movies. Because if they could make like a film for $10 million, like max, and have it be like a low-budget horror film, release it on Halloween, they could make their money back in almost a single night if they play their cards right. And while that wouldn't be like the biggest ever, like we're not talking like it has to make tens and tens of millions of dollars in its opening weekend, but just by having that smaller budget and releasing it at a time where more people are more apt to go and see it and experience that stuff during the whole spooky season stuff. Again, it's lost opportunities, but I think another part of it is that they just do not know how to make movies, and specifically movies for cheap. Jimmy A, maybe they could get by calling it Meg minus Alopolis with a hyphen, so it's technically different. I think actually Meg Alopolis. I like that. Instead of it being Megalopolis, it's Meg Alopolis. I think having that pause there, I think you're right. I think that just gives it just enough space. Literally. Mega Dreamer, you really should check out the trailer for Rental Family. Basically, Fraser's character is an actor in Japan who works with an agency to be a stand-in for a family. Yeah, and again, I don't know. I don't know about that. Geek Truth were the only horror movies out over Halloween, Shelby Oaks and Black Phone 2. Basically, those were the primary films that were out for Halloween as far as horror thriller films. I'm trying to think of other ones. I mean, Chainsaw Man is an anime. I don't know if that would constitute. I don't know what Begonia is. So I don't know if there's any creepy elements to that story. There is the new animated film Stitchhead, which I've heard it's been described as the Frankenstein for kids. So I guess you had that, but that one barely made anything. There's been no marketing for it. I feel like that's something that they could have probably made a lot more money with. It was from Briarcliff Entertainment as the distributor. So it's, again, very weird that they did that in that capacity. And then after that, yeah, Shelby Oaks, which dropped off quite a bit. You then have The Conjuring Last Rites, which is still out in theaters technically. You had Twilight there too. And then a bunch of other films that, again, some of them might be thrillers, might be... you had that film Violent Ends from IFC Entertainment. I remember hearing about this one at the very least. John Michael Powell, the director. Don't know much more about it than that. That's listed as thriller and suspense. So it sounds like there were some like smaller independent releases, but that's not going to do much for you on Halloween if no one can actually see your movie. I don't know. Let's see. Will JJ, what's going on, Will? Saying here, I truly respect your classy character, and I say that as a Catholic who's prone to cursing, you really stand out above the rest on the FNT panel. Well, I appreciate that, Will. Thank you. I really do. That really does mean a lot. It's always nice when I have time to talk too, because I actually can talk. It's always funny where like, I see people in the comments saying like, oh, it doesn't say anything. It's like, well, I try to, but I also try to be polite, and so it's impolite to talk over others, and so I try my best not to. But by doing so, it just puts me into this like never win this no win scenario. And then when I do talk, it's like, well, I guess I have to talk over people just to get a word in edgewise. But clearly, right, I can talk for about an hour and a half, every single week, if not more, when given the chance, when given the opportunity. That's why I in many ways really do love the Salty Saturday streams that I do, because it's a very different vibe. Obviously, I love FNT too, right? But it's a very different vibe, and I definitely like how Matthew Cadish, shout out to him, shout out to the Salty Nerds, how they structure it, where Matthew Cadish produces a show. He sets up everything for everybody, gives everyone a chance to kind of like pipe in when they want to. There's still some crosstalk where we can still have conversations, and it's like that natural flow and feel to it too. But it's definitely nice to have that as well. But yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, it's something that I remember when I started doing YouTube, which is, it's just crazy that it's been like 7 years almost, I think, since I started doing YouTube in any official capacity. Insane how much time has gone by. That was one of the things that I wanted to be very careful about, obviously, because really actually started when I started teaching. Right, I started teaching about a decade ago at this point, and it wasn't like I cursed like a sailor or anything like that, but you are much more aware of your words when you have to speak in front of kids, especially high schoolers. And that first job, it was like high school guys, so it's like you gotta be very, very careful. And so ever since then, I've always been very hyper aware of the things that I say and how I say them, and so that's why I always do whatever I can to stay PG on pretty much everything. And I like it because it's actually also forced me to be as aware of that in my regular everyday conversations. And so it's helped. My wife curses a lot more than I do. There's many times where I'm like, honey, come on. So for very good reason. It's nice to have these other motivating things that can help do the things that I should already be doing anyway as a man of faith. Let's see. Wendy Hunter saying, Odin chat, I have to go. Have a good night, and thanks for a great stream. Yeah, I don't know if we'll be going too much longer here either. We've gone about an hour, and that's fine by me. Let's see what comments we got. We got Geek64 saying, rental family sounds literally like an episode of How I Met Your Mother, with Barney hiring a family and keeping them around for years for special events to trick his mom into thinking he had a family. That's a good point. Kagan Ramsky, do you think we'll get Christmas movies in December? Man, now the question is, American Christmas movies or like actual reason for the season Christmas movies? Because there is a difference, right? There is a distinction. I guess we could pull that up real quick as we wrap things up here. So we've got the numbers release schedule, and we can just kind of see what's coming up, right? So we got November 14th, Keeper, Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Just again, I can't believe there's 3 movies now in that franchise. You have Running Man after that, Rental Family, Sisu 2, Road to Revenge, Wicked for Good, Zootopia 2, and Eternity, which is expanding its release, it says. December 5th, so now getting into the December holiday Christmas movies. So you have Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Yeah, that screams December Christmas, but hey, it is what it is. Another Jujutsu Kaisen, Execution, G-Kids anime. Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair. That should be pretty cool. But again, feels like an October release thing. Merrily We Roll Along. Is this the musical? I do wonder. Spanning 3 decades, Merrily We Roll Along charts the turbulent relationship between composer Frank Shepard and his 2 lifelong friends, writer Mary and lyricist playwright Charlie. And this does say epic musical. So it is a musical. Jonathan Groff, Daniel Radcliffe. Oh, wait a minute. Is this the film version of the Broadway show? Because I remember when Daniel Radcliffe was cast in this. Jonathan Groff, he is most well known on Broadway at the very least for being in the original cast of Spring Awakening. Daniel Radcliffe actually is a very talented singer and dancer. He was in How to Succeed in Business Without Even Trying. He actually did fantastic in that role. I actually got to see him on stage, and it was pretty fantastic. So my guess is, because this was on Broadway, that this is just a filmed version of that. So that could be cool. Again, that's my musical theater part coming out there. December 12th, Ella McKay, Scarlet, Silent Night, Deadly Night. Is that a re-release? Garbage Day. Isn't that Silent Night, Deadly Night 2? Or is this a remake? This Christmas, you better be good. The studio behind the Terrifier franchise. Okay. What? Is this a remake? It says remake. Okay, so it says remake. So it's the second one that has the whole Garbage Day. No, which is one of my favorite clips ever. Hamnet, which I'm assuming is like a variety of a variation of Hamlet. Then December 19th, you have what's going to be one of the worst weekends on record for me, because Avatar: Fire and Ash finally comes out. Ugh. David comes out. Okay, not necessarily Christmassy, but at least it's faith-based. Housemaid is this thing on SpongeBob Movie Search for SquarePants. On Christmas, we have Anaconda, Marty Supreme, and Song Sung Blue. So Marty Supreme, what in the world? Who's in this? Timothy Chalamet as Marty Mauser. It's one of the it's the Safdies. It's the Safdies, or at least Josh Safdie. It just screams Christmas time. It says Marty Mauser, young man with a dream no one respects, goes to hell and back in pursuit of greatness. And then Song Sung Blue. No information listed here at the very least. Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson. Hey. There you go. So is this like a musical? See, American biographical musical drama, written produced by Craig Brewer, based on 2008 documentary of the same name. Film stars those two. Formed the Neil Diamond tribute band Lightning and Thunder, rose to fame. Doesn't seem much like a Christmas movie though. So, yeah, a quick answer to that question is doesn't look like there's any Christmas movies coming out over Christmas. Hollywood, what are you doing? Could you imagine if, like, Hollywood actually went back to its roots and actually made, like, old school epics, like biblical epics again? Made really good faith-based content. Some of the best movies ever to be made in, like, the, I guess, quote, faith-based arena are classic Hollywood stories. Like A Song of Bernadette. A Man for All Seasons. My goodness, A Man for All Seasons. How good is that movie? It won Best Picture. That's unheard of in modern Hollywood. I'm sorry, but there's no chance that an Angel Studios movie is ever going to be able to win an Oscar with the current state of Hollywood. And again, I have my criticisms of Angel Studios, but man. All right. Thanatos, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I agree. It is. You won't hear any fighting from me. Short saying, I was so happy to see Brendan Fraser acting again. It really skewed my review of The Whale. Your review was accurate. Absolutely. Yeah. And again, that's where I was so, just like you, I was so torn, right? Because I was so happy to see him in there. He was great. I loved him in the film, and I loved the redemption arc he went through, but I again, had to call out the story for what it was. Mikey Dreamer, yes, Merrily We Roll Along is a film version of the Broadway musical. Fathom Events is doing it. Also, Scarlet is an anime that the wide release got bumped to March. Gotcha. Harwick, Hamnet is about William Shakespeare and his wife grieving over the death of their son. Hamnet. Kenneth Branagh's All Is True covered some of the same ground. Interesting. King of Remsky. Unbelievable. I know, right? Unbelievable that Hollywood would not do Christmas. Victor Fontaine, at least Amazon gave us Red One last Christmas. Yeah. Do we really want to count that one? If we really want to say that that counts. Hardwick, the 1950s and 1960s biblical epics are considered an act of desperation at the time. It was the movie industry trying to compete with TV by making their movies as spectacular as possible, and they ended up making some of the best films they've ever made. Geek54, if they re-release a classic Christmas movie for wide release in theaters, which Christmas classic do you think would make the most of the box? It's so hard to say. Because there's so many films that are on TV every year, and so it's like, would they really be able to bring that much out? All I can say is, as far as a film I would love to see back on the big screen again, is It's a Wonderful Life. I just love that movie so much. It's just so classic. So obviously that would be where my pick would go, just because I would want to see it, not necessarily because I think it would make the most money. It's really so hard to say. Because all the classic Christmas movies that you can think of, it's like you could see why some would make more money than others. Like Home Alone would obviously do really well. Die Hard, of course, would do well. I don't know. I would just have to go with the one that I like. Jimmy A saying they are re-releasing Jim Carrey's The Grinch in December. That's good, actually. That's good. I actually really like that adaptation. It's almost perfect. Almost. They do a little too much with Cindy Lou Who. It's like, wait a minute. I've seen the original. Cindy Lou Who does not have that big of a character role. I know they were trying to pad it out for time, but, Geek Truth, It's a Wonderful Life is my favorite Christmas movie. Be cool to see it in theaters. Agreed completely. All right, that's going to be a wrap for me tonight, everybody, because that ice cream is just calling my name. So I just want to thank everyone for being here. Shout out to everyone that hit the like button, hung out. Guillermo Gage, thank you for those Rumble rants over on the Green Machine as well. Always do appreciate it. And we are in the month of December, everybody. So I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. I hope everyone had a wonderful Halloween, All Hallows Eve, All Saints Day, All Souls Day out there. And a lot of stuff to look forward to in 2026. Not a whole lot to look forward to in 2025, which has kind of been the story of 2025. It's the year where things just blah, basically, is the best way to describe it. Shorty Short saying, solve world hunger, tell no one. I understood that reference. Anyway, thank you guys very much for being here today. Oh, we get each other. Will Riker, I'm going for my big piece of carrot cake. Odin, great show. Thank you. Oh, carrot cake. It's always a good choice. And then I'm gonna have to get my ice cream. I did make some soul cakes. Didn't turn out the way that I wanted them to, but apparently they might actually go well with a little ice cream. So we'll see what kind of combination I can come up with. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Smash the like button, smash the rumble button on the way out. You guys seriously are all amazing and beautiful. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I will have the November shoutouts video done as soon as I can. I do apologize for always having delays to those. Thank y'all for always understanding that once we're in school mode, things kind of go a little bit hectic. Finally got one of the giveaways done for the Batman 4 movie collection set. Have currently a giveaway for the film Flow, one of the best films to come out in recent years. Love this movie on 4K. Over on the Discord server for Keep It the Bifrost level members and above. Should be picking a winner on that soon and trying to get as many giveaways as I can for this month. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and as always, God bless. And now let me give a shout out to all of my Chosen of Valhalla members, starting off first with my Patreon members, Father Luca Illich. Hail to you, Father. And also to Miss Martin Muses. Check out her YouTube channel by the same name, Miss Martin Muses. She is very lovely, great, awesome Catholic faith-based content over there. You'll also find over on Subscribestar my member Matt317. He is on Twitch with the same channel name, Matt317. Shout out to you, good sir. And also to a longtime member here, Mr. Roy, my Chosen of Valhalla member here on YouTube. Mr. Roy, thank you for always hanging out and for always being a part of this channel. It does mean a lot, as well as it does for all of my Chosen of Valhalla members. And if you want your name shouted out at the end of every live stream or video, or if you want it listed in that list that was playing just before, just now, check out the top link in the video description below. You'll find out how to get those types of shout outs at the end of every live stream and video. Not to mention, you get access to bonus video content and also access to a Discord server where there are a couple of channels on there where I do giveaways every single month. In fact, I do multiple giveaways every single month. I try to make it so that I'm giving away Blu-rays and 4Ks that make up at least 4 or 5 different giveaways. Sometimes I have to put them in all towards the very end because back in the school session, of course, now means that I'm going to be a little bit more delayed there. So if you want access to things like that, if you want access to a great community, you guys seriously are all amazing and beautiful. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless.